Kakusta Varma ruled between 435 to 455, only 20 years of rule, and he had a crown prince to support him, because usually in ancient India, ancient South Indian history, we have references of crown prince, that who is groomed, who is trained to become the future ruler, because suddenly because due to war and a lot of diseases at the time, the length of life was very short. So you find that the rulers had to train their sons or grandsons or their brothers to succeed to the throne. So they will choose either one of their brothers or one of their children and appoint them as crown prince, give them responsibilities as governors, so that they will learn how to carry out administration. Okay, so that is how we find that Talagunda inscription also speaks about a crown prince who was there at that time. So that is an information on administration. Then Kakusta was a Yuvaraja during the time of his brother Raghu. Okay, so Raghu was the third king. No, so after Mayura you have Ganga, after Ganga you have Raghu. So Raghu's brother was Kakusta. So this person had served as crown prince for his brother Raghu. So that means when he comes to power also, he is going to have either his brother or his son as the crown prince. Okay, so Talagonda inscription and Halasi copper plates are important sources of this period. So it talks about how the Kadamba Empire reached its greatness during the time of Kakusta Varma. So Mayura is the first important ruler, the founder. The second important ruler is this person, Kakusta Varma. Okay, right? This is the name. Learn, write. Telegunda record calls him ornament of the Kadamba family. So why are they calling him? Because he should be most celebrated, okay, most respected, most successful. The period obtained its zenith during this period. So he has fought many battles and he was able to succeed in the battles. That is his first quality. Second, he was very much helpful, philanthropic nature was there. He was kind to the needy, protected his subjects. He was able to help the humble. So he had won the love, respect, and esteem of the people. See, so much appreciation is there. So that is why Talagonda is also called as Prasasti type of inscription. What is Prasasti? You are appreciating somebody and you are writing that note. Okay, so the historian, that is how historic record is created. The period of the historians of the time should leave a mark for appreciating their own king. So they are writing. So Prasasti sentences will be exaggerating only. It won't be talking less about a person. It will talk high about a person. But we have to compare with the other resources also, and we feel that many other sources also say the same about this person. Okay, so remember that word Prasasti. It is one type of inscription. Inscription can be commemorative, inscription can be donative, right? We told about types of inscription. Telegunda is commemorating, it is celebrating, it is appreciating the achievements of this ruler. Okay, right. So they are telling about his palace. Okay, his palace has towers which are centered from ichor, from lusty elephants. So what does it mean? I don't know, but they want to praise him for the richness that he is having. Okay, so it was a place of goddess Lakshmi. People were contented, people were having peaceful life, all that they are talking about this dynasty. Okay, so that's why I said the word Prasasti. So they want to praise him. Okay, the entire kingdom was full of perfume, I I don't know what is the lusty elephant perfume. Okay, right. The visitors to the kingdom felt assured about their safety. That's very important, because whenever the place is unsafe, you will get a warning from the government that tourists need not have to come. Okay, usually American government and the European governments are the first to issue the warning, don't travel to so and so place, because there is some kind of either natural calamity or some kind of political turbulence. Okay, so the visitors of this kingdom to Kadamba dynasty did not feel that. So that is also an appreciation that this place was safe for the people. Okay, right. Then another interesting aspect was that he tried to build relationship with distant kingdoms also by using matrimonial alliance as a technique. Okay, so he gave his daughters in marriage to leading royal families. Okay, so many ruling families had used this strategy, okay, to build relationship with powerful ruling family by making matrimonial relationships, right? So that way, leading royal families, he used to give his daughter in marriage to them. So Gupta dynasty, you all know, was one of the leading families of the time. So in Talagonda inscription, they are calling him that he is the father-in-law of Gupta ruler. Okay. And then Kalidasa, who was in the court of Guptas, came to Kadamba dynasty as an ambassador. So when Kalidasa came, they did not offer him a chair to sit, and Kalidasa sat on the ground. And then he had some kind of activity in the court, and then he goes away. So there are people who interpret this. Okay, so if I thought Guptas are their masters, then what they would have done, they would have given a higher seat to their ambassador and they would have treated him well. Since this Kadamba dynasty thought they are all equal in status, usually the rulers need not have to offer a seat for a priest or a poet or anybody, no. So they did not offer any seat to Kalidasa also. So they treated their ambassador with scant respect because they felt very equal to the Guptas. They did not have a fear that this man will go and complain and Guptas are going to attack them. So that is why we are saying that the Kadamba rulers held themselves at pride, and then they treated themselves equal to even Guptas of the time. Okay, then what are some information on Banavasi? First of all, in the map work, you are going to mark Banavasi. Okay, that's one thing you have to study. In the South India map, they will give you an outline of Karnataka. You have to make the places, no, important places. That one of the place would be Banavasi. So learn to mark Banavasi. Next, Banavasi village was 22 miles from Sirsi. Already Sirsi is one of the prehistoric towns. So that is why you always say a new location with the existing location. Okay, so it is just 25 miles from Sirsi, and Sirsi was an important trading center. So the Kadambas of Banavasi were even thinking of having a capital at Sirsi. Okay, right. Then Banavasi was also called by many names. One of the names was Jaldurga. Okay, Pulikesi is in Aihole inscription, which was issued by Pulikesi II. Banavasi is called as Jaldurga. Why? It was surrounded by river. No, we don't have ocean at Banavasi. It is surrounded by river in all direction. So what happens is, it is a natural water port is there. So the kings had built their location in a very safe place surrounded by water. So it was not easy for them to be attacked by the enemies. So this was referred as Jal Durga. Jal means water, Durga means port. So the location of Banavasi, one more time we are telling you. Okay, right? So you can see Sirsi also nearby. Can you see Sirsi? Sirsi. So all this is in Uttara Kannada district. Sirsi, Banavasi. Goa, in South India map, easy to mark Goa. And then Banavasi is. So you can learn Banavasi by knowing where Goa or Panaji is. Okay. What is the proper way of learning? Find out the latitude, longitude, location. So you can draw using your pencil and you will know exactly where this is. Understand? So that is why you should see an atlas. If you see Google Maps, you cannot locate Banavasi. Okay, it will tell you how to reach Banavasi from your house to there. Okay, but to know, to mark in the map work, if you have not done before, then you should learn to find the latitude, longitude, draw in the map work. Then whatever type of map they give you, you will be able to do the work properly. Okay, right? So this is one of the skills that a student of history should learn and acquire. Okay, right? So which ruler we are talking about? Kakustavarma. Right? So Banavasi town was surrounded by the tributaries of river. Okay, right. Then administrative style of the Kadamba dynasty. So Kadamba, what are the things that we can learn about administration? So far we have learned about political background, rulers, about two kings. You should be able to write an answer about two of the rulers, the founder Mayura Sharma, then who took the kingdom to Zenith, Kakustavarma. Okay, so when I say you should be able to write, how much you should be able to write? You should be able to write an answer for 400, 500 words. Unless you write, you will not know. So your goal is to get your 500 words answer. Okay, portraying various activities or achievements of these two rulers. Okay, right. Then administration. Kadamba rulers called themselves as Dharma Maharajas. Shatavahana's also did that. Mayura is called as Vaijayanti Dharma Maharajadi Raja. Maharajadi Raja means what? He has defeated more than one more ruler. Okay, he has been successful against one more Maharaja. Jayanti also means success only. Then Krishnavarman I was called Dharma Maharajas. So these Kadamba rulers had the habit of calling themselves as Dharma Maharajas. So then what is their job? To protect the functioning of Dharma. Okay. Then were they illiterate rulers? No. They were well-educated rulers. Okay. Because we have famous rulers who were not educated at all. Okay, can somebody tell me some of the famous rulers of India who were illiterates? Chat box. These rulers were well read. They knew Sanskrit. They could read scriptures and they had known for their scholarly prowess. Okay. Mayura Sharma was also called as Vedanga Vidya Visharada. So that means what? He is the master in the study of Vedangas. Okay. Vishnu Varma was known for his perfect grammar, proficiency in grammar and logic. Simhavarma was considered to be skilled in many branches of learning. So just because they became Kshatriyas does not mean that they have decided not to pursue their education. Okay, so they were well educated rulers. Okay. Lunmin was able to give me answer for one ruler who was illiterate, famous but illiterate, like Akbar. Very good. A crown prince from the royal family helped the king in administration. So what we are saying, that the Kadamba dynasty rulers were Dharma Maharajas, well educated. They were able to know about good and bad which is given in the literature, and they wanted to follow the religious scriptures and religious literature. So they patronized education, they patronized art, culture, administration in a more superior way than others. Okay, they had the habit of training a crown prince. It's not like a successor to the king can waste his life in drinking or in intoxicating themselves, and suddenly one day they'll be crowned and they will know everything on how to become a ruler. Not possible. Akbar's children were like that. They were not interested to train themselves, right? Then you know world famous rulers who had bad children. Louis XIV is considered to be one of the greatest rulers of France. Louis XV was worst ruler. He didn't know what to do. Louis XVI did not know what to do. Why? They never had the habit of training the future ruler, or training them in such a way that they will be expected to work longer hours. They thought they can lead a luxurious life without doing any work, which is impossible. So the Kadamba rulers, Chola ruler, Pallava ruler, all of them had this habit of training a crown prince. Okay.
क्या किए तो voice
Swastika.
really
Swastika, would you like to be in this class, or you have some other important job to do?
sorry ma'am, I'm traveling, that's it.
Turn on your video. Turn on your video before telling me stories.
Yes, ma'am.
Keep it on. So they had the culture of having a crown prince. They had the culture of training their princesses also, because they were appointed as governors in many locations. So you find that a lot of sources are available about the uniqueness of the Kadamba dynasty and how they were able to create a good, proper administrative structure during this period of time in history. Okay. Then administration means always king supported by ministers. So here also the same way, administration was supported by ministers. The ministers were called as Pradhana. Okay, the main minister was Pradhana. Then you have Manavarakarade. So that means he is equal to the home minister of this time. Then Krumukkapala. So he used to bring messages. Okay, so he is referred as the beetle carrier. Then you have Tantrapala, you have Sabhakarya, Sachiva. Okay, so you have Tantrapala also refers to the information only, how they make strategies for war, or how they used to take control of the forts. Okay, so these were some of the names that are mentioned as the ministers. Pradhana. You have to remember these names. You don't have a choice, right? So you have to learn these administrative officials during this period. Okay, so we have Pradhana, you have Manavarakarde, you have Kramukkapala, you have Tantrapala, then you have Sabha Karya Sachiva, secretary. So that way, administration was run with the help of 5 ministers. What is the name of the book written by Dr. Moras? Remember and tell me, what was the name of the book, which is considered to be one of the important source of the Hoysala dynasty? I mentioned the name. I told you it is a secondary source. We'll see who messages. Harivarman also speaks about how the ministers, or the king and the ministers, listened to each other. They had discussion with the elders. Vidya Vriddhas. So they used to have house of elders, or elders who were learned people. They used to have discussion with them before making a decision. Okay. Then Ravi Verma had a Desha Matya called Nilaganda. Okay. So that means a physician was also there in the council of ministers. So health minister of modern day. Okay. So they had somebody called Desha Matya, who was a physician, to advise them in the important matters. Then Rahasya Adhikrita, a private secretary, a Sarva Karya Karta, a chief secretary, had also existed during this period. So that means what? There was a beautiful bureaucratic structure even during the period of Kadamba. So you have hierarchical levels in administration: king, followed by ministers, and ministers followed by the bureaucracy, whether it was chief secretary or secretaries for various functions. They used to help the king in the administration. Then you also have Dharma Adhyaksha, called as chief justice. Okay, so he used to provide advice to the king in the matters of judicial decisions. Okay, so that way there are several officials who are mentioned during this period. Okay, so prominent ministers and officials, the same names which I have mentioned there, I have put a list here. Okay, you have prime minister, you have home minister, you have secretary of council, you have scholarly elders called Vidya Vriddhas, you have physician, Deshamatya, then Rahasya Sarvakaryakarta, Dharmadiksha, then army officials called Dandanayaka, Senapati, Jagadala. Okay, write and say these words. Right or wrong, no issues. You have to practice saying and writing, practice saying and writing. By just looking at your screen, either it is your phone or your laptop, you will not remember or recall the spelling or pronunciation. It is necessary that as a student, you and me should learn to write and say these words, whether we know Kannada language, do not know Kannada language, doesn't matter. In this class, there are only 5 children who are born in Karnataka, who can understand Kannada, write and read in Kannada language. Rest of us are in the same boat. So we have to practice by saying and writing. Then only it becomes easy for us to learn these things. Okay, so make a list and study. Don't just do entertainment. Okay, then when it comes to provincial administration, the kingdom was divided into province, first of all. It is impossible to control the entire kingdom by the king himself. So the kingdom was divided into mandala. Then mandala has one more name called desha. So you have mandala or you have desha. Under a mandala, you have vishaya. So districts. So total of 9 vishayas are there. So state divided into province called mandala. Mandala divided into districts which are called as vishaya. Under Vishaya, you have group of villages and then a single village. So the lowest administrative unit will be the village. So the group of villages can be of 2 ways. One, grama, or you have the towns, right? So trading places and then farming places. So both village only, but the words that we use will become different. So you have Dashagrama, you have Mahagrama. So taluk level, that means trade will be there, and Dashagrama, farming is the main occupation. So kingdom, make a ladder. Write in your notebook. Show me the notebook. Write in a notebook. Kingdom, you have divided into mandala. Mandala divided into Vishaya. Vishaya divided into Mahagrama and then Dashagrama. Then the last unit is village grama, right? So that is the structure of provincial administration. Okay, do it and come in the next class. I want you to show the notebook of what you have learned about Satavahanas and Kadamba dynasty. Okay, so thank you.
Thank you, ma'am.
I had asked you one question about name of the book written by Dr. Morris. I didn't get the answer from anybody. What's the name of the book? They said this. George Morris wrote this book in 1931. The book is called The Kadamba Kula. Okay. History of Ancient and Medieval Karnataka. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am.